Julle moet daar's hy nou weer te wen.
Kom maar kyk. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Waar staan Popolina? Guys? Sissa, waar staan Shelly? Popolina. Popolina. Waar Shelly?
We gaan YouTube aanneem met dit.
Oh, I
Maar
don't
die sal
know.
gevolg word nie.
Hello, Michelle.
Nee, dit is maar niet live. Wat ons gaat zien, nou is dat niet die komen. Of ons gaan nooit over dat die vrienden zijn. Wat ook al even gemakkelijk is.
Popolina! 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 Ja, je kan zien, ja, wat hulle gaan sien. Ja, dat is net goed.
Albei mics aan wees.
Ja, maar dit gaan pryse is. Ja.
Ja, maar dan nie hier is. Ja, en hulle gaan so ja.
Maar dan gaan hierdie wat julle kan sien dat jy
Ja, soos so. Kom jy reg?
Ja, hy werk perfek.
Okay, nice. Nou net daar's 'n minuutie lei, so jy gaan net nou weer hierdie conversation hoor oor 'n minuut.
Want ek het die YouTube se klank afgesit en die Teams is meer akkuraat vanaf.
O, okay.
What's up? Wat Luca? Ja.
Ek dink hy sal
Ja. Wat die pas?
Popolina! Popolina! Poppie! Dit is jy. Ons te boos was 'n poppie. Is dit sak aardappels?
Dit is 'n aardappels.
Is jy 'n sak aardappels? Ja, sak aardappels. Oh, is jy 'n sak aardappels? Jy is nie 'n sak aardappels nie. Sê vir pappa, jy is nie 'n sak aardappels nie. As hy nie 'n sak aardappels maak, gaan ek hom 'n sak eie maak. Sê vir Klein, sê hallo. Sê vir Klein, sê hallo. Sê hallo, Klein. Sê hallo, Klein. Lia, wat sê jy nou? Ai nee, Anne. Wat is jy? Daar. Kleissie. Ja? Hallo. It's a little key. Hallo Sienna. Hallo Kleissie. Hoi daar. Hoi goed. Wat jy nou aan? Sweets. The sweets. Look up my for your pattern. Look at this. For your pattern. Kleissie, Sissa, Sissa, hier is een van de pa's vrienden. Hallo Kleissie.
Hallo Kate.
Dis Henry is al maar. Ja.
Op is 'n hartseer dag vandag nou. Ons kan jou graag en tyd vandag baie lekker tyd saam met ons gegee. Ja, maar.
As jy daar teen die kamera
Gedraai julle.
Kleissie. Kleissie, James dan daar. James maak so gedraai jou. Hy speel met James.
Hallo Tracy. Hy speel ek sien.
Ja, hy pas daar. Die kamera. As die kamera.
Where are my things when you? Nee, is Thank you so much.
Je sagt ja, ja, kan uit, man. Nee, beter signal strength, like what is better task. Okay,
Right. I'm waiting for the border to I'm alright, thanks. Yeah. I'm with you. Yes. Oh my God! Wait, let me see. You look at that.
I'll get Liam and Joshie to come say that now. Liam and Henry with you.
Oh my gosh! Hannah, how are you? No way! I'm like, wow! How are you? I'm alright, thank you. And you? I'm good, thanks.
Waar staan Dis Heidi. Dis Heidi.
Hello, Anna.
Say hello, Anna. Long. Long. Daniel.
Touchdown and then looking to the touchdown. Hi, Josh. Good, thank you.
En dis al uitsluit
I'm so
so.
grown up, like, yeah, it's so different. She still looks the same, but the rest of you have changed. Like, yeah, just we're in lockdown, so we can't see anyone or go anywhere. So pretty alone at home. Yeah, if you ask, how are you? Yeah. You finished with school now?
No, I'm still in the trip. I'm doing it.
Oh, right. Last year, and then what are you going to do next year?
I'm starting to work next year.
Oh my gosh, are you going to work for your dad?
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's nice to see you guys again. You guys looking good.
Thank you.
Bye.
I see. Sisa? Only I know say. Sisa?
You're Michelle Wilson, my younger master answered what?
Sorry.
At least giving it God that is you.
As mama isso, as transito. As
Tutu now.
7 o'clock. 7
I think it's because that's on the internet. That's on the internet.
Yeah, he doesn't call back.
Well,
Yeah, that's fine. That's it.
Sorry, sir, there's no staff time. Except that we're in lockdown. It's good otherwise. Alright, okay. You want to take a trip up here, like down here?
I'm actually going to the States in about a month.
Are you going back? And you just, how long are you planning on staying there?
2 years.
It's going to be great. And are you doing a theory or are you like doing a course?
I'm doing the theory and teach
Wow, that is brilliant. That is really good. Very wide. Yeah. That's why I think I love keeping up.
Dis daai ding. Hy is nog aan.
Als je het keer vind ik kan wel wakker. Zit op je plekje.
Mas faz o streaming. Vocês não viram. Yeah. Good morning and welcome to all our family and friends. I would just like to start with some informalities. There's tea and coffee at the back, so you can stand up, go get yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee. And then Precious is our awesome waiter for today. She's going to take orders for cappuccinos. There's juice on the table. I just want to ask that the tumbler glasses on the table, don't use them now. We are going to do a toast at the end of the ceremony for Errol. So we're going to use the tumbler glasses for that. And then if you go out left, there's the ladies' toilet, the white building, and the men's toilet are through the gate there by the grey building at the back. All right. Yes. Okay. Luca? Today, we are celebrating the life of Errol Hopton. Not only was he a husband to Estelle, but a father to two beautiful daughters, Michelle and Tracy, and a grandfather to Hayley. Errol had a great life, well-traveled and always ready to share his traveling wisdom. He was so proud of his exquisite mini doll houses, and the attention to detail was phenomenal. Errol had so many friends and family that cared for him dearly. We have a couple of colleagues, friends and family that would like to share a few words in celebration of Errol's life. First, we have Clem Sweet.
Hi everybody, good morning.
Clem,
I'm not talking about,
can I ask you, sorry, would you come stand here because the streaming is from here? Sorry.
I'll try to avoid it.
You can just stand
Thank you.
here. Thank you so much.
Hi everybody. Yeah, Samuel Jackson said, life has no pleasure higher or nobler than that of friendship. And Errol was a friend to us, friend to us all, the friends and for the rest of obviously family. And I was thinking back at the time I've known Errol, I was surprised how fast the years had sped past. And then I was thinking of significant events that resulted or contributed to us becoming friends. It went from knowing each other to working together and becoming friends. You heard a bit of Errol's well-traveled things. And Kathy will tell you a story. Errol and I had a job to do in Angola. And little did I know that Kathy had organized a surprise 60th birthday party for me. And there was a delay in getting flights. And Kathy phoned Errol and said, you better make certain that Clem is back here because it's a surprise party. And if you don't get him back here, I'm not sure what she said, but probably very ladylike told him that he's going to be in big trouble. All right, back to the story. When Errol and Estelle, when Estelle and Kathy met, and they have similar interests, both are accomplished artists, we started meeting more frequently, and a very comfortable friendship developed. With the ladies' friendship and the art, well, what was there? Which excluded Errol and I, because either him or I don't think can do anything much about painting. So Errol and I got to spend some more time together. So what did we do? We ended up trout fishing in the rivers around Clarence. I can probably tell you about all the rivers and half the dams. And I can also tell you the trout in them are totally safe, from Errol and I. Right. And the jury is out about who was the least successful, probably me. And very fortunately, if it wasn't the ladies at Sunnyside who weren't staying there or staying at home, we didn't have to rely on the fish for supper, otherwise both of us would have starved. Of course, we don't see each other as often as we would have liked. We live on the other side of the Boerewors curtain, being the other side of Joburg. So it's one of those things. It's a place that's almost too near but too far. So to drive from Krugersdorp to here, we did it infrequently, although we often would speak on the phone about different things. Errol's hobbies, and we just heard about his doll's houses, and that's the worst about being second. He built the most amazing miniature furniture. I was always amazed at the detail and everything exactly in proportion. I think I've got the 9 fingers because what Errol was doing was phenomenal. And those of you who've seen those miniature furniture things are quite amazing. Then, of course, he was riding his BM with his biker buddy Dale. They were often off and around the place. And although I rode motorbikes when I was a lot younger, mainly because of transport or a bit of entertainment, racing around the track, I certainly don't have the inclination to ride on bikes nowadays. But it's enjoyable for both. From the side that when some of us all retired, I didn't really get down to that. No, I've forgotten what I'm supposed to do with retiring, so I keep busy. I often could, and often did, phone Errol when I was being involved with some project management work. And Errol's knowledge and relating to the documents, the sequences, what should be done, was phenomenal. And I'd phone him and I'd ask him about what was happening, how should we do it. His experience was second to none. And he had a memory that he could say, well, okay, so let's say, Errol, I'm busy with doing this, I'm editing this document. And he would, every way, tell me what the things are, make the quick notes, and be able to solve the whole problem in almost no time. Errol also talked about his experiences, and he had lots of phenomenal experiences in his years with London and others, being out traveling around the world and things, and places that I was getting to nowadays. Errol has been there, done that, and enjoyed it. To have a good friend is one of the highest delights of life. To be a good friend like Errol is one of the noblest and most difficult undertakings, and will be missed by those of us who call him friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clem. You can shed tears, but he is gone. Or you can smile because he lived. Next, we have Alfie Moffat.
Good morning. I bring condolences to you, Estelle, Michelle, Tracy, and the family from the whole class of 67. At times like this, oral written communication, you normally find two dates, a date of birth and a date of death. And in between is a dash. That dash represents everything that has happened in that person's life. All the hopes, all the fears, all the successes and the failures, all the achievements. I want to look at Errol through three dashes. That was my association with him, three dashes. The first dash was 1955 to 1967. That dash represents our schooling. We started schooling together. Benoni Junior School, went on to Benoni West School, and finished at Benoni High School. Looking through my limited selection of schooling memorabilia, I found a few photographs, and in every photograph, the face of Errol was looking at me. We were not close friends, we were friends. But he was always there. During high school, we had a very close-knit group of people. Errol was one of them. Most of us had been in the same class in Standard 6, so we were very close. He was not an instigator. He was not a ringleader, but a supporter. Always there. The next dash is from 1968 to 2014. As was customary in those days, after matric, you did your military service. And it was like a skyrocket at fireworks time. A matric class soared into the earth, into the air, burst, and all the bright sparks went their own way. The dash here represents nothing, nothing at all. We had no communication, we had no contact, not even a meeting in the street for that period of time. My next dash is from 2015 to 2021. It was shortly after becoming a resident at Country Life that our paths crossed again. I was having breakfast in the communal dining room one morning, and I noticed a face. I was not sure if it was Errol, but I was quite sure that it was Errol. Because there are some things that don't change, that never change. The outward packaging might have changed, but certain hand movements, the smile, certain facial expressions had never changed. So shortly afterwards, I had the opportunity to confront him and introduced myself to him. I got the Errol stare at first. And it was as if the years between 1968 and 2015 vanished. We were friends and close friends again. Those years never existed. At that time, our matric class, or some of the matric class, were organizing a 50-year celebration out of school for 2017. 2016, sorry. Errol immediately became one of the group and attended all our meetings. He was always the first to arrive and maybe sometimes even the last to leave. And even when he was not particularly well, he would arrive with his specially prepared pH water. We had our celebration in this room, and Errol proudly displayed all our class photographs. And in true meticulous Errol fashion, every photograph had the names of the people from the back row to the front row, left to right, every single photograph. My photograph certainly did not have all of that. This group started off where it left off in 1967. And we spent time with Errol and Estelle in Clarence. We visited the homes, playing board games. And when the rules were not particularly clear, it was Errol's clear-headedness that sorted it all out. There was still much hilarity, I can imagine. I mean, you can imagine. Errol at home was the same as Errol at school. He was always there to support. And when not traveling for business purposes, he was a patient but stubborn man, a deep thinker, well-read, and very well-traveled. If you mentioned any place on this planet, Errol would have a story to tell you about that place. Gentle giant. And I always wonder, as has been said already, how such a big man could work so meticulously with the miniature dolls and miniature furniture in the houses that he built. He also served his country during our border wars. And the poppy is normally worn on Remembrance Day, but I think we should all be wearing a poppy today to remember Errol. To me, he was a comrade in arms, and I belong to an organization called the Moths, and I have a prayer which I would like to end with. It's the Moth Prayer, and it goes like this. They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We have a little gift from the Clarence group, which we would like to hand over to Estelle, just as a remembrance of our great times that we had. Rest in peace, my friend.
Thank you so much, Olfie. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Now we have a letter from Alma Manders, one of his old colleagues, and James Thomas is going to read it for us.
Celebrating the life of your ex-boss would normally be very difficult because there are some extremely pretentious people out there. With Errol, I didn't have to dig deep to find something good to say. Errol was good. Errol was patient, especially with me. Errol knew his job and shared his knowledge. He wanted his staff to grow. He knew how to work, but he knew how to delegate, a rare quality. Errol made me and all the people reporting to him feel calm amidst the storm of an urgent proposal that had to go out. In Errol, I had a manager with integrity, and it was easy to respect him, when respect was so hard to find. Errol always brought a smile to my face, as his workstation was full of photos of his travels and his family, of whom he was very proud. He was a storyteller of note. I will miss this huge man and his three great passions: his family, his travel stories, and his miniature furniture. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, James. Those we loved don't go away. They walk beside us every single day. Next is James Galdart, who's going to talk about Errol from the Galdart family.
Friends and family. Hi, Julia. I'd like to say a few words from us as a family. And I want to start at the beginning. In the beginning, when I met Errol many years ago, I thought he was a very calm and reserved type of person. He didn't get excited very easily. But funny enough, sometimes you notice people like this, there's something completely from the left field. And it surprised us at Tracy's wedding, when this was a father that not only gave his daughter away as a bride, but he also delivered a speech. I think Henry had the fright of his life that night. But it was a brilliant speech, and we all enjoyed it. And for that, thanks, Errol, seeing that different side of you. Errol was also the type of person that partook in all activities organized by either the family or functions at the Oord. It did not matter if it was a birthday party of the youngest and the smallest kid or a normal family gathering. You could depend on Errol to be there. One of his most enjoyable activities was the Easter egg hunt in Clarence. Boy, did he love it. And did he love the Easter eggs afterwards. What was so beautiful was to see him looking after Michelle, helping her hunt for the Easter egg and assisting her so she gets her some part of the loot. But that was one of the highlights of the year. He loved nature and was a keen motorbike rider, especially long trips down in the Free State. And I'm sure his riding buddy Dale is going to miss these trips. But Dale, be sure when you are on your bike, Errol will be with you in spirit. Think of him while riding. Is Errol phoning you? I see it. He can also be called the world traveler, and he loved visiting various places overseas. What was nice was the stories and the photos that he brought back. The photos were brilliant, and the stories even better. Okay. And the stories were even better. The kids especially loved the photos and the stories. And that's where my daughter Petrie obtained a love for photography. Errol even assisted her with understanding her camera, and she will always be thankful for that technical help he provided for her. Even though he traveled overseas, outside South Africa, he loved South Africa and the nature. Golden Gate, he knew most of the roads within the park and in the Kruger National Park. Driving through the park for hours, it was never a burden. Or alternatively, watching animals from a height but in Ngwenya was only a pleasure. I was privileged enough to visit Ngwenya and Hazyview with Errol the past 2 years and was impressed by his culinary skills. Even learned to cook and eat, actually eat, beetroot and onions cooked in an open fire without tinfoil. However, what was an eye-opener was the programs in the evening. Now, he loved his iPad. And I think he should have looked what he was looking at. Because I found out at Ngwenya and at Hazyview that in the evening he loves the programs 90 Day Fiancé. But the worst was watching Kyk in Suiderkruis. I couldn't believe it. On the Afrikaans channel. So I changed my mind and decided he was a much more complex person than we give him credit for. What was most outstanding, and everybody mentioned it, was his hobby and his passion. The model houses and the furniture he actually didn't build, he created. Starting from a plan, he always had a plan, he never did anything out of it. He drew the plan meticulously. Plan and a piece of wood. He had it in him to create, but can only be described as a small masterpiece. His meticulous planning, drawing, building these pieces is mind-boggling and impressive. His patience can only leave you in awe and will remain a monument for Errol. Talking of patience, what was most impressive was his patience in dealing with difficult situations. Like with the service provider MultiChoice, to have the DSTV connected at Clarence. Sitting in the height, listening to him at Ngwenya. It was impressive to say the least. Not one swear word, or curse, or a shout in these dealings. And that impressed me because that's not me. Definitely not. However, he got it arranged and the TV was connected. Now still. For all those memories, my whole family says thank you. We are definitely going to miss it, but all at the same time, thanks that we could share it. It only enriched our lives, and you will never be forgotten, even though you are no more with us. Thanks.
Thank you, Papa. Grief never ends, but it changes. It's a passage and not a place to stay. Now we have Tracy van As.
Yes, of kan jy hoor?
Alright. As I sit here today, times where one will come unthinkably lost. I was unfortunately unable to get any flight path back to South Africa, so I'm reading this eulogy live from Melbourne in Australia. I'm humbled at how he must have touched your lives. It is really hard to comprehend, and I'm not going to be able to encompass the entirety of a man that meant so much, not only to us, but also to all the people here and the ones listening in. There's a lot of adjectives which could be used to describe my father's life. A sense of duty, simplicity, perfectionistic, decency, respect, etc. However, none of these are part to the word that I'm about to say next. Admiration. I admire my father because he was a kind father. He was stern, but he was kind. He never lifted a finger towards my mum, Michelle, or myself. He loved us. Being kind to us did not fail him from instilling the core values within us. It is these core values which still defines who he was. I admired the relationship Mum and Dad had. Their commitment to each other stays untainted. They've had more battles to face together than most people know of. And even in the darkest days, they have stayed with each other. They were truly best friends with a marriage that survived for almost 43 years. They've had endless amounts of adventures together. Dad was some sort of an introvert, but he was a major adventurous, and even better, or he even had a bit of a daredevil at times. This was a match made in heaven, with Mums always keen for anything and silly nature combined with Dad. They could write books about their adventures together. Some of these include regular target shooting together as a couple. In the early stages of their marriage, Dad co-owned a Dutchman yacht and loved sailing around on it. They also loved whitewater rafting and completed the Orange and the Tugela River, sleeping on the riverbanks with friends. They've explored many countries together, and some of their best trips include Chile and the Inca Trail in Peru, China, and biking and barging around Holland. Later in life, they've got the motorbikes. Even though Mum hasn't been on a breakfast run in a while, this was something which Dad thoroughly enjoyed with his friends. He always used to talk and tell me about them. My relationship with my father. Some will describe myself and my mum as one in the same person, but Dad and I had a different connection. We had a unique connection on a level that not many know about. I was his little girl. He was my role model for a hard-working man and putting in all the energy to later reap the benefits from it. Always looking respectable for work with a collared shirt and a tie. I was his color coding inspection point. Dad was colorblind and couldn't distinguish between black, navy, or dark brown. So there were mornings where he thought he was all dressed and ready to go to work to find out there's a whole new outfit waiting for him. I would be his listening ear when he wanted to complain about anything, and I would in return guide him with a subtle push into a different way of thinking and understanding. This was a pretty hard task because Dad was pretty much set in his ways. We understood each other. He was my lifeline, my emergency cash fund, my encyclopedia, my handyman, and this included everything from electricity, plumbing, fixing, or building. He was everything I could ever wish for in a father figure. He was smart, hardworking, charismatic, supportive, handy, patient, talented, focused, and let's face it, pretty handsome. His piercing blue eyes will forever be engraved in my memory. Dad was a complex character, and his strengths and weaknesses were one and the same. What happened to all those times when I always looked to you? No matter what happened in my life, you could turn my grey skies blue. From the top of my head, I have two stories that jump right out at me. The first one was when I was living in the UK. I was about to leave on one of my gallivanting expeditions. I had to pick up my passport and visa from the Spanish embassy in Edinburgh and literally dash straight to the airport with a carefully calculated and limited budget. Once I got to the embassy, there was a printing error which wouldn't allow me to leave Spain and complete my planned trip. Costing me another £100 at the time, I was totally devastated. This £100 was a massive chunk out of my travel budget, and I hit a straight panic, thinking I might run out of money and I'll be stuck somewhere unknown. In tears, I was ready to pull off my trip completely. Not even thinking twice, I had to immediately contact my lifeline. Dad was calm and almost laughing at the end of the line. After calming me down, he simply said, "Well, Trace, you have two options. You either drop the whole trip and you end up wasting more money, or you suck it up, buy a few less beers along the way, and go and make the most of your trip. You won't be starving, and in return, you still get to enjoy your friends and experiences along the way." I waited for the new visa, rushed off to catch my plane, and off I went. It was worth the phone call and all the tears. The other story was when I got pulled over by Metro cops around the corner from my parents' house during my varsity days and almost got arrested for an outstanding fine, which I thought was squashed at the time. I was escorted to the police station with friends in the back of my car, police driving in front of me and behind me, and a policeman sitting in my car, all as if I was a serious criminal. I saw trouble coming my way the second that they wouldn't return my license to me. There was once again only one lifeline that could save me now. Dad, my highly panicked voice said to him on the phone. Dad once again calmly told me not to panic. There was nothing that they could do to me, and he's trying to sort something out. Long story short, I was in handcuffs on my way to the back of the police van when a strange man came running my way asking if I was Tracy. With my dad still on the phone, he said, Trace, don't panic. Just tell them this is your lawyer and he'll sort everything out from there. I was quite impressed with the facts and asked if this was his lawyer from work and that he had the authority to send me people like this. He chuckled and said, no, the lawyer's got real work to do, but this is our accountant. I thought he could manage to drop that fine because he looked like a lawyer to me. Dad always seemed to find a solution for any problem. His solutions sometimes included witty and funny sides to things which we only noted afterwards. He had endless amounts of patience and deeply cared for us more than we sometimes realized. I know he was proud of me. He was proud of many things I've done and accomplished. There is, however, one instance which really stands out to me. He was very proud and fond of the gentleman I chose as a husband and a father to our beautiful little girl, Hayley. Somehow, Henry has managed to tick all his boxes. Dad was proud to walk me down the aisle and to give me away, and I was happy that I've made him that proud. We also had an impromptu trip back to South Africa last year, just before the lockdown kicked in. And Hayley was fortunate enough to have met and spent quality time with him. I'm ever more grateful that I've decided to visit. Dad was a patient man, extremely patient. Only as a parent myself do I now realize how patient he really was. He hardly ever raised his voice. Instead, he dominated us with the glare. Once you got the look, you know that it was close to the last straw. His life evolved around being patient. His patience showed through his love for animals, especially birds. Birds from anywhere. Always picking up an injured bird or baby bird and caring and nurturing it until it was good enough to fly off again. Especially with the African grey Mickey at home, they had a very special bond. His patience mainly showed in the incredible detail of his miniature work, always building and creating new furniture, and then building a house to show everything off. Dad also had another secret talent, which not many knew about. He used to love painting. In fact, there's a magnificent picture of a horse which is on display in my mum's study. On another point of patience, his love for his plants, always growing bonsais or reviving a sad and dying one-leaf orchid. He started collecting orchids from everywhere. If someone was about to throw one out, especially myself, he would adopt it and he would give it much needed love and attention. And before you know it, there would be 10 blooming flowers on each twig. On my visit back home last year, he revealed his trick to me, and I'm eager to go buy a whole nursery of orchids so I can just carry on his way. Another great passion of his was his love for his family history, and he traced the family name back to the Doomsday and the 1500s. When I was living in Scotland, I had the best time of my life, and as much as what I enjoyed it, I think secretly Dad was even more ecstatic. This meant he could plan multiple trips over to come and explore and follow the family name throughout the country. It was most possibly one of the best family holidays we've had. Dad never stopped growing and learning. He loved doing research about topics and learning the more intrinsic details. He loved reading, which was one of my favorite presents to give him. Dad had a head full of unknown knowledge. Sometimes the topic would be raised out of the blue. He wouldn't even be part of the conversation, but will quickly join in to almost put you to shame with all the knowledge he had about it. Dad had a story for everything. His favorite stories always involved traveling somewhere. In fact, I can barely recall any conversation at any given occasion where a travel story or experience were not raised. When I was much younger, I used to just roll my eyes and say, here we go again. But it didn't take me long to learn that these stories were actually quite special, and that this was a way for me to travel the world through his eyes. A while ago, I saw a post from a friend. I liked it at the time. Soon enough, I would learn that this would be my turning point of comfort during this sad time. I share with you a story in Afrikaans. Die bruin kombers. 11 dae terug het die liewe Here 'n bruin kombers saggies oor my skouers gevou. Ek dra hom nog net 'n kort rukkie, maar dis lank. Genoeg om te weet wat hy doen. Partymal vergeet ek van hom, maar dan word ek skielik weer bewus van hom. Gewoonlik met gewone goed. Maandag, Dinsdag, Woensdag goed. Goed soos as ek Henry se blou hemde stryk vir werk. 'n glasie melk drink voor ek gaan slaap. Lego of puzzles bou saam met Heini. Luister na Golden Oldies musiek. 'n eiertjie op toast eet. Of vir my 'n koffie met 'n plankleur maak. Die luisie hou net aan. Dan weet ek ook daar's goed, daar gaan goed wees wat my meer bewus maak, soos Vadersdag, verjaarsdag en Kersfees. Dis 'n bruin kombers wat die liewe Here om my skouers sit. Dis nie lelik of sleg nie. Dis warm en gemaklik. Maar dit is swaar. Dis baie, baie swaar. En dit maak my keel dik en my oë nat voel. Almal se tyd maak dit makliker. Dit hang seker maar net af hoe mens makliker definieer. Maar tyd maak die bruin kombers swaarder. Maar dit maak hom ook warmer en gemakliker en ligter bruin elke keer. As die kombers pers word, gaan ek hom afhaal, want papa hou nie van pers nie. Dad, some days I hear your voice, and I turn to see your face, and then I realize that it has all been erased. Who will I turn to for answers when life makes no sense? If I can turn back time and once more hear your voice, I tell you out of all the dads, you would still be my first choice. Dad will surely be missed. He will be missed by his friends for his jokes, which he cracked over a cup of coffee or a glass of whiskey. He will be missed by his granddaughter, and we will never stop telling your stories. He will be missed by Mum and Michelle. Most of all, he will be missed by me. Please always know that I love you, that no one can ever take your place. Years may come and go, but your memory will never be erased. You have given us gifts that are more precious than anything in this world. Goodbye, Dad, rest easy, and you will forever live on in our heart. All right. Okay, so that was my thing, but I'm also reading something for my mum and Michelle. So here it goes. Celebrating your life today and so many memories to share make us realize again and again how blessed we've been to have you in our lives. Our journey started 46 years ago, young, adventurous, and full of energy. You patiently taught me to ice skate, to understand and enjoy ice hockey, and don't forget our target shooting. Our honeymoon in September 1978 to Spain and Morocco proved that you were the best travel planner ever. Reflecting the history, reading, and learning about the people and the country was a given before you even started planning any trip, and that never changed. Needless to say, we always explored as much as possible, made use of local transport, lots of walking, riding donkeys or pedaling bicycles, and tested local cuisines off the general traveller's route. There were times when we could even read the menus, but would point at a dish that looked interesting and tasted it, and then came home to rest. We never stopped exploring our own country, enjoying our holidays, mostly at different resorts. Caravanning was the best when the girls were small, and we'll always treasure the super nice holidays with our friends and family. You enjoyed small groups of people, 4 or 6 people at a time, but didn't enjoy or handle big crowds well. You were a dense client with so many skills and always willing to share your knowledge. We were truly blessed to have our girls, enjoyed lots of laughter, overcame and survived challenges together. Not sure whether us or the girls, but the best of all was the pleasure of seeing Michelle and Tracy grow, teaching them values, morals, and skills that shape their lives. Skating down to a smaller place gave us so many new opportunities. Working from home gave us the opportunity to spend more valuable time together and to enjoy each other's company. You became the general maintenance man, housekeeper, and cook. You got better the more you watched MasterChef. And brilliant maker. We miss you so much already. Small little things that we took for granted. I could ask you to reach for something off a high shelf. I have to fetch the steps now. Don't even talk about cleaning the vacuum cleaner. I think James might get a second vacuum cleaner to clean now. The patience you had in fixing Michelle's cell phone, adjusting the study for my comfort, cable connections I needed, replacing a painting, drilling a hole, fixing a door, etc. It will never be forgotten. Last years with many health challenging are now gone. No more worries about what might happen next. You are now in God's hands and can rest in peace. We will never stop loving you. You are always in our thoughts.
Thank you, Tracy and Fanny Istal. Now I'm a list. Okay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It's the price of love. On behalf of the family, I would like to thank everyone that joined us today. The family have received countless phone calls, texts, flowers, meals, visits, thoughts and prayers. They have been comforted during this difficult time and have been a reminder of the impact that Errol had on so many others. I would like to thank the following people. The Galdart family for all the support and love. Tracy and Henry, even though you are far away, always ready to help and just a phone call or a Zoom away. Ben Pinar for the streaming today. Friends of Country Life Retirement Village, school friends, colleagues over the years. Edward and Antoinette Fitzgerald for this beautiful venue and delicious food that we're going to have just now. Lynmed Hospital and doctors. Eastrand Funeral Services. And last but not least, Country Life Retirement Village Management. I would like to conclude with the following. Ek het net myself hier. Until we meet again, we think about you always. Sorry? Until we meet again, we think about you always, we talk about you still. You have never been forgotten, and you never will. We would hold you close within our hearts, and there you will remain, to walk and guide us through our lives until we meet again. Please, let's raise our glass to Errol.
Cheers.
We're going to end off today with a tribute video, so please enjoy.
Didn't know it'd be your last, that I have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb, I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through the door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Love lives on inside of me. will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small. And you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, where God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why.